All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming to the webinar. For those of you who don't know me, I'm David MacDonald, and I'm the University Chaplain here at ONU. I'm so glad that so many of you were interested in this webinar, and just want to let you know a couple things. Number one, we are recording this call, and so that way if you want to share this with your organizations or if you want to go back and look at it later, you can. And I'm also going to be sending out the slides in an email as well, so you won't have to worry about trying to scribble everything down that I'm showing on the screen. So, as you know, there are obviously a lot of coronavirus restrictions that we are under as a campus. You've all read the Polar Pledge and seen all of the guidelines that we're all under. So some of the things that are important for us on campus as we're doing classes and other meetings are just as important when we're doing any kind of volunteer work on campus or off campus. And so we're going to talk a little bit tonight about ways that you might be able to do some volunteer service for your organization or as an individual, keeping these guidelines in mind. So it's going to take some thinking outside of the box for us to come up with some ways that we can do service opportunities this semester. One of the things I'd like us to consider is if your organization has service requirements, say you have a certain number of hours, you might think about whether that can be taken into account this semester, and is there a way that you can modify or change the rules on the number of hours that you require? If that's not possible, then obviously you're going to have to find lots of ways for your members or folks related with your organization to find their volunteer hours. But the first thing that I would recommend is that all of us be thinking about, if we do have service requirements, just keeping in mind that it's going to be a little bit harder for people to find as many hours as they've been able to find in the past. Also, I'm going to be emphasizing the 3 C's: cooperate, co-sponsor, and collaborate. I admit that cooperate and collaborate probably mean exactly the same thing. But when I talk about this, what I'm talking about is working together with other organizations on campus, working with offices on campus, finding ways that we can co-sponsor events. So if you have an idea for a service project or a fundraiser or something like that, and you can think of ways that you can collaborate or cooperate with other organizations, you're encouraged to do that. And if you're looking for ways to figure out how to do that, or organizations to collaborate with or to co-sponsor events with, please let us know. We would love to help you figure that out. Also, we're going to have to think inside the box in addition to thinking outside the box. So remember, if you're going to do any projects that we talk about here, if they involve people going somewhere or being together in a group, you do have to fill out the student event form first. So make sure that you get approval before making any of your plans final. That's something that we've run up against in a variety of different situations, but it's going to be particularly so if you're looking to do some of the projects that we're talking about. You're going to need to make sure that that form gets filled out. So I'm going to be focusing on 3 different categories of service opportunities. Individual opportunities, which are mostly online. These are things that you could do yourself, or you might encourage people in your organization. If it doesn't require that your hours have to be fulfilled together, say as a chapter or a group, you might be able to say to people, go and do these individual opportunities. We're also going to be looking at group opportunities sponsored by either our office, Religious Life, or other offices that would be open to the whole campus. And those might be some online opportunities, or some of them might be group activities that we might sponsor throughout the semester as well. And then finally, group opportunities for organizations specifically open just to your organization members. And again, those might be online or in person, but it's important to think about what the category of service project that you're wanting to do, so that if you come to us and ask, you know, what are some things that we can do to volunteer, we can kind of help you to tailor that to your needs. So I'm asking, if you need help, contact our office in the chapel. If you'd like to have a co-sponsoring a volunteer opportunity, if you need help planning or sponsoring a volunteer opportunity, let us know. Our goal this year is to keep a running list of people who are doing service projects, and then be able to know, is a service project open to the whole community? Is it just for that organization? Who do you contact if there is a way that people can get involved, those kind of things. If you want to reach out to local churches or the Ada Food Pantry or Beatitudes, which used to be called Restore, if you want to reach out to Van Crest of Ada or Love Inc. In Kenton, any of those organizations, we're already working with them on some ideas and some projects. So please let me know. What we're trying to avoid is having everybody call all of these organizations and try to do something individually with them. We'd like to kind of coordinate that. So reach out to our office if you'd like to reach out to any of these organizations. One thing some of you may not be aware of is that recently Table One Ministries in Kenton closed their doors. So if you've done a volunteer opportunity there before, that will not be something that will be available this year. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic and some other issues that were going on, they just didn't have the money to continue on. And so that won't be an opportunity that's available. If you need ideas or resources for volunteer opportunities, or if you want to, what I'm calling pre-vet, if you want to pre-vet your event, so say you're not sure if this is something that's going to fit well, or that it's going to get passed even by the implementation team, come and talk to me, let me know, send me an email. I'd be glad to kind of go through and say, here's some things that I think might be issues. I've had conversations with folks from the implementation team, specifically about volunteer and service opportunities. And so I have kind of a pretty good idea right now of what they're going to be looking at when they look at those forms that you fill out. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact our office and let me know. And I can help find whatever the answer or whatever resources you might need. So we're going to look at a number of different online only opportunities. These are things that I've researched. I also want to thank Sigma Theta Epsilon, which is the National Christian Service Fraternity that we have a chapter of here on our campus. They developed a list of online service opportunities and told us that we could share this with our campus as well. So some of these come from that. Some of these come from my own research as well. Some of these you may have found if you went online and looked at online volunteer opportunities. If so, that's great. If not, I want to share some of these with you. So the first one is Volunteer Match. Those of you who have been here for a few years might remember Get Connected ONU, which was our site that we had through volunteermatch.org. We no longer have that ONU branded site, but we still are sending people to volunteermatch.org. And if you look over in this section right here, there is a place for virtual opportunities. And so if you click on that, you can put in, you can get virtual opportunities all across the country. Just doing a search the other day, I found people who were looking for people to read online to people. I found opportunities where people were looking for brochures to be made for an online, for a nonprofit. There are all sorts of opportunities that you can do through Volunteer Match, and we've partnered with them on a number of occasions. So I would definitely recommend starting there if you're looking for virtual opportunities. Not all of these are going to be in the Ada or Hardin County area, or maybe even in Ohio, but because of the virtual nature of being able to do this, it's a great way to reach out and get some volunteer service done that you might not be able to do otherwise. Catch a Fire is another one. They tend to focus on professionals, but I think there are some projects, as I've been searching, there are some projects through here that might be useful for students, particularly if you have a kind of learning objective for a class or something like that that you need to fulfill. This would be a great place to look for very specialized kind of volunteer opportunities. Again, there's all sorts of ways that you can get involved. This is mostly, again, with nonprofits, helping them to do the kinds of work that they need to do to survive during this time. So Zooniverse is another one. This is a group that primarily does projects that are sort of group sourced. So right now, one of the projects that's going on is they're transcribing Shakespearean works to make sure that they're accurate in the ebook form. And so there's people who are doing that. There are people who are looking at star charts and comparing and contrasting. This is really good if you've got an eye for detail, or if you'd like to sort of get into something, maybe take on a project as a whole group or a whole chapter. It would be a really great way to do it. It also has an educational component because it is mostly research projects that they're doing this for. Again, these are nonprofits. You're not going to be doing research for a corporation or a company. You're going to be doing it for researchers, professors, and nonprofit organizations. DoSomething.org is completely led by young people, and they have a huge list of opportunities and projects that can be done both locally. So they have some ideas of, like, you'll see on the screen here, they have 3.7 million cigarette butts collected. So they have a campaign where people just go around and do that. 5 million jeans donated, you know, so there's different kinds of collections type things that you can do, or also online things that you can do. And they've just got some great information about volunteering in general. So I would definitely recommend, if you're looking to get started, maybe if you've never done this kind of service before, this is your own peers who have done it and showing you how to do it as well. So great contacts on there as well. Points of Light has a lot of different volunteer opportunities online as well. Again, these are going to be projects that are local nonprofit organizations that need work done. But then you can also see down here at the bottom where it says DIY volunteer projects. What you do when you click on that, what you get is some ideas of things that you can do that might benefit some of the local nonprofits in your area. So if you're interested in those, trying out those kinds of projects, you can do those. So it's sort of like making something and then sending it off kind of thing. The Smithsonian is always looking for digital volunteers. Again, these are going to be scanned records of things that they've collected over the years, and they're going to need people who can collate, who can organize, who can proofread, and you get it doesn't take a whole lot of training to do this. It's just basically being able to notice details, those kinds of things. Bookshare is very similar to that. Again, these are books, old books that have been scanned in. Most of them are in their public domain. So they've been scanned in, and they need people who can either help to scan books or proofread the books. And again, it doesn't take any specific kind of training or anything. You do have to apply for it, but it's something, if you're, you know, just interested in, you know, what they'll do is they'll have the original scan, and then they'll have the file that's come out of that scan, and you have to compare them to make sure that the words are the same, those kinds of things. And then distributed proofreaders is the same thing, but in a different format. Again, it is public domain books that are being scanned for ebooks. You can see that they've done almost 40,000 titles so far, and they're continuing to do that. And a lot of people have been volunteering with this kind of work, especially during the shutdown and the pandemic, because it's a great way to do something. You can do it from your apartment, from your dorm room, wherever. And believe it or not, Wikipedia. I put this up here just because Wikipedia has always been volunteer run. It's always been volunteer edited. I know that some of you have probably used it as a source, or at least as a first place to go to get information for a project or a paper. So if you have an area that you're interested in and you'd like to help, it's very easy to create an account, and then you can go find the articles that you're interested in, and just help make them better. The nice thing about Wikipedia is that they'll say in the header of most of the articles, it'll say the kinds of work that needs to be done, if it needs more research, if it needs more citations. If you're interested in that kind of research, it's a really great way to connect with things that are really important to you. So if you're a member of an organization, you might check out your organization's Wikipedia page. And maybe that national organization's Wikipedia page hasn't been updated for a while. So maybe that's something your chapter or your campus group could do. Maybe there's information about your favorite sports team. And there's some things that could be, you know, beefed up about that. So it seems crazy, it seems kind of silly, but I think this could be an opportunity for people to volunteer online as well. So that's all the major ones that I found. A couple other things that I have gathered ideas for. One of those is if you'd like to offer to help edit or clean up a nonprofit organization's website. So you might be affiliated with a nonprofit organization, or you might know of some in the area that you would like to help out with. All it takes is reaching out to them and saying, hey, here's the skills we can offer. Do you need this? And then setting that up. We do have a specific request from VanCrest here in Ada. They would like some students who might be able to, on a specific evening during the week, provide some entertainment for their nursing home residents. So this would be virtually. So you would be here on campus in front of somebody's laptop or in front of a webcam, or we could even host it in the chapel with our camera. And basically you would be live streaming something into the nursing home. So it might be playing an instrument, you might sing, you might do a talent show, whatever it is. But if you're interested in that specifically, see my office. I've got the contact information. I've also got information about when they're available to do that, so that you might potentially be able to use that as a service project. Another one that we're going to be starting later this month is online tutoring for local elementary students. So this is going to be through our office and through the office of the Center for Teacher Education. They are placing their students right now in tutoring, one-to-one online tutoring situations, so they can get their observation hours. Once the education students have all of their observation hours, then we're going to open it up to the rest of the campus, and it'll just basically be online tutoring. You'll utilize, Google Meet or Zoom, whichever works for you. And so we're going to have a process for how you can apply for that, and you'll have to get a background check since you'll be working with minors. But other than that, it'll just be having a computer or access to a computer and being willing to meet with an elementary school student online. So look for that sometime around the middle of this month. So around the 15th or 16th, hopefully we'll be sending out some information about that. We've also gotten a request from Ada First United Methodist Church. They're located just off campus. And they are looking for some people to create some children's ministry videos. And so what they're looking for is people who'd be willing to read a Bible story, or who'd be willing to act out a Bible story or lead some songs and do that, make a video out of that, and then have it available for their children in their children's ministry. So again, if you're interested in that, I can get you the contact information for the pastor, and she'd be thrilled to have some students from ONU help out with that. So again, just some more virtual opportunities that are available. And again, I'm going to send all these slides and all this information out to you later. So if you want to share this with your organizations, you can. So some ideas for in-person, on-campus small group ideas. Again, keeping in mind we have to be 10 or under if we're going to be doing a gathering in person. One of the things that we're looking to sponsor as an Office of Religious Life is making masks. I'm currently out on the lookout for places that need masks. We've been hearing from some of the nursing homes, even from some hospitals, for like visitors and things like that, people that need the cloth masks. We also have some folks in the area who have sewing machines, and we've got some places where we might be able to get some cloth and some elastic donated. And so the idea is that we would have a very simple pattern. We'd bring in 10 people at a time for about an hour or so. Those people would work on making masks, and then we'd switch shifts, and another group of people would come in, and so forth and so on, and maybe do that throughout a whole day, and then send the masks to where they're needed. So that's something we're going to be doing out of Religious Life. If you're interested in making masks, let us know. We'd love to partner with you or co-sponsor that event as well. We're also going to be collecting items for Beatitudes, which, as I said, used to be called Restore. Every year they have a kids' Christmas shop where the kids in the community who have some needs can go through and pick out items for free for their family members for Christmas. So a gift for mom, a gift for dad, a gift for grandpa, whoever's at home. And so they're looking for new items this year. In the past, we've put out gently used items, but the new executive director really would like to have new items this year, even if they're from the dollar store or Dollar General or whatever. Just something nice that's in the package still that the kids can give to their parents as a Christmas gift. So if you're interested in collecting those items, we do have a list of the needs for that. I'll actually just send that list out with the email that I send when I send out the slides and everything. So if your organization is interested, but if you are going to collect for that, please let me know so that we know how many organizations are collecting, so we can kind of have a rough idea of how much stuff we're going to be expecting. We've also had some groups that have already begun this, making cards for local nursing homes. One of our organizations just this last week made cards for Vancrest. But some of the other ideas we've had are making cards for healthcare workers, for our first responders, for anybody who's on the front lines. It might be a great idea to make cards or some something to hand out to our teachers here in Ada, the teachers in the Kenton schools, the other local school districts, USV, Hardin Northern, and others, just to let them know that we're thinking about them, that we appreciate the work that they're doing for our community. So, if you're interested in that, it's as simple as collecting the items that you need, like cards or making your own cards, and then finding an organization that you can partner with off campus that you can send those cards to. So if you need some contacts for that, let me know. I can get you in contact with some of the folks in the local area. Another one is an idea of fundraising for a good cause. That can actually be considered a form of service. And so if you have fundraisers that you're doing and they are going towards nonprofit charitable causes, and you want to use those hours for your members, that's a great way to get volunteer hours as well. So if you have any ideas, put those up in the chat, let us know. Or if you need ideas, that's what this group hopefully is here to help you with. And then finally, some off-campus possibilities, and these are going to be very limited and very sort of the last on the list. So we're hoping folks will find the hours that they need through the small group things on campus and through the online opportunities. But we do have a couple projects. One is helping to do cleanup or yard work at some of our local churches. We've already had a request from a local church that might need some help cleaning up this fall. And then also leaf raking. For leaf raking, Habitat for Humanity has already begun the process of putting that together as a project. So if you're interested in partnering with them, Jillian Sugden is their president, and I will make sure that her contact information is in the email that we send out. Jillian said she'd be happy to co-sponsor, work together with other organizations around campus. This is something that Habitat has done for a number of years, and they want to continue to do it. They have a whole bunch of rakes, and we're going to be getting more as well. So do need to make sure, though, if you're going off campus, that you still have to fill out that event form. You have to make sure that everybody wears masks, that you have social distancing. We're not allowed to enter the resident's home, and we're not allowed to accept food or drinks. These are coming directly from the folks in the implementation team. So if the nice old lady that you're raking leaves for comes out and offers you cookies, it's okay to go ahead and accept it if you want, and then maybe, put it in your pocket or take it back to campus to get rid of it. But it sounds rude, but we don't want to the possibility of us sharing germs with them or vice versa. So keeping that contact to a minimum. And we're also going to be letting folks know of these things as well. So you shouldn't have somebody coming out and offering you cookies and punch and all that kind of stuff. They'll know. Also want to tell you that if you're going to do something like this, like if you're going to do, say, 5 days of leaf raking, you only have to fill out the event form once and include all the dates in it. So you don't have to fill out a different form for each date that you're doing this project. You just have to fill it out once and just let them know what dates you're going to be doing it on. So if it's like every Saturday for 4 weeks in a row, just put those dates down. I've also created a Facebook group so that we can share ideas. And so if you're interested in sharing ideas or getting more information as we go along, there's the information for the Facebook group. It's just basically ONU service ideas. Again, this link will be in the email that I send, and it's here. It'll be here on the slides that I send out to you as well. So I'm going to keep that running throughout the year. And if there's ways that people want to share ideas or things that you've come up with in your groups that you think other groups might be interested in knowing, we're going to have that available there. Any questions? I'm going to stop there for a moment and see if there's any questions. If you've got a question, just go ahead and unmute your microphone and ask your question, and I'll see what I can do. Or you can put your question in the chat if you'd like. All right, everybody, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming, and if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions you might have. Again, I'm here to help you in whatever way I can to help your organization to get your members out into the community, whether it be virtual or in person. We want to try to make that happen for you. So again, just if you want to email me, you can email me at chapel@onu.edu. That's chapel@onu.edu. Or you can stop by the office in the chapel there. You can also, if you look at the bottom of the email that I sent out with the link, there's a link to make an appointment with me. So if you want to actually meet with me one-to-one, we can either do that socially distanced or we can do it, online like this. But if you have questions, you can set up an appointment, certainly. Join the Facebook group. Let us know if you have ideas. If you want to co-sponsor an event with somebody, let us know. And again, I'll stick around for a few minutes here if there's anybody who has questions. But again, thank you very much for coming. And sometime Thursday or Friday, you can expect an email from me with this recording, the slides, and the other information that I told you I'd send you. Thanks a lot, everybody.